We're not celebrating some historical event or some mythological scenario that happened in the past. We're making something happen now. Most people are too obsessed with their own ego scenarios to pay attention to the deeper levels of reality. They don't even know they exist, or their egos create imaginary versions of them, or their egos reject what is too vast, too powerful, too filled with love, too shattering of their frame of reference, and they shrink away from what is offered. They do not meet the challenge. The Hindus say that at the end only 8 souls actually get it. 108 get close. And what is the it that we are to get? We know that the universe is not made of matter. We're not really living in a physical world. But egos still tend to believe that, even though it's been disproven by science itself. The world is consciousness. It's an artifact within consciousness, an appearance. But what is consciousness? If you identify with your appearance in the world as a body, then you are not attuned to your consciousness. And therefore you are out of touch with reality. Because you are still an artifact of consciousness as an ego, there is still the possibility of connecting, because you are an effect of the cause. In the same way that a particle can be an effect of the wave, but the particle cannot get the wave, let alone the ocean. We know that consciousness is made of waves, wavelengths, and that in this very space there are perhaps an infinite number of waves, vibrational frequencies that are simultaneously flowing. And there is a background radiation from which they all derive. Are you able to attune to the different frequencies that carry different levels of information and power that enables the metamorphosis of appearance and the downloading of information that prepares one's vehicle for accurate action, to achieve the fruition of its own deepest yearning, and to be in tune with that ultimate cause of all of the vibrational waves. Resonance with which brings not only peace, but bliss, power, love, fulfillment, and liberation from all the illusion. And so you could say that Maha Shivaratri is the day in which we are to do the fine-tuning to that supreme frequency. Other religions have days of atonement, but there are few that focus on attunement to achieve at-one-ment. But the relationship between the waves that are being received and the receiver itself must be understood. And the receiver's capacity to function as a transceiver must be understood. The universe as we know it, which is part of a multiverse that most do not know, but is present here at different vibrational frequencies, emerges out of a singularity and returns to a singularity. Do we understand the significance of that? And our relationship to that singularity as it approaches through the illusion of time and space, but more importantly, as it exists eternally beyond time and space, and brings us back to that realization and that transcendence of the illusion. Meditation is the act of fine-tuning to the highest possible frequency that your consciousness can tune into. But if you are focused on your ego mind, you will not be able to hold that frequency. If there are any obsessive interests in anyone other than the source of that frequency, you will sabotage your ability to tune in. It's for this reason that all of the ascetic practices, in order to reach the state of kaivalya, have been taught for thousands of years. Isolate yourself from all the interference patterns, from all the lower vibrational frequencies, from all the incoherent noise, and focus only on the supreme source of the information that creates, sustains, and transforms the cosmos. Be at one with that supreme power, because that is your function within this matrix. That is your potential, but it must be activated. It cannot be activated so long as you identify with the biographical traumas that have interrupted that connection. the mind must not be allowed to distort the purity of the flow of information, that if it is gained without distortion, transforms and liberates and empowers. And creates a metamorphosis far beyond anything that the rational mind of the ego can conceive of, because its form of reasoning is too gross, too based upon the reason that deals with phenomenal dualistic appearances, but cannot grasp that which requires a much higher valued logic to understand the multidimensional composition of the true nature of reality. To be able to integrate that complexity of vibrational frequencies into unity requires absolute stillness. It is only then that the pieces fall together, that the information creates a tapestry. And more than that, brings about a manifestation of the subtle power within the depths of the consciousness that is attuned to its own source dimension. If the attunement is instead to the phenomenal plane, to the realm of objects, then that power that potentially can manifest within the mind to enable the activation of all of the higher potencies of consciousness will not take place. And this is the reason for the requirement of death and rebirth. If the ego interference pattern does not die, does not become extinguished, then there will be not sufficient clarity to receive and sustain the power that is being offered in the form of wisdom, light, literal divine light, and its laser-like applications, and the knowledge of how to make use of the powers of mind that you were never taught even exist. It is only on such holidays as this that not only does the cultural awareness open up slightly to enable us to have some kind of a pro forma return to an interest in that level of consciousness, but it actually happens that on this day the frequencies are downloaded in a way that they can be connected with. It is a gift of mercy that is being offered. This is why in many traditions people will fast on a day like this.